The speech is not, it's not going to be a technical speech, just coding games. So my name is Alex, and I'm founder of Check.io. And what we are doing in Check.io, we are doing coding games for last 5 years, even more, I guess. So today I'm going to talk about coding games and what advanced coders or professional coders can find interesting for themselves while they playing coding games. So what's the plan? First of all, I'm going to show you some coding games that's around for a long time already. I'll share some feedback that I get, and I want to show you some future, that what the future holds for coding games. And so those are a bunch of pretty old coding games. It's not very good. But I'm not going to talk about all of those games. I'm going to talk about Coding Game, Code Wars, Empire of Code, Code Combat, Check.io, of course. And the thing that unites all of these games is, of course, coding puzzles. So eventually you should somehow solving puzzles in these games. But what makes these games unique is what you can do with your solution, how you can play in this game, how can you use your solution, what the system asks you to do in order to solve your puzzles. So it's hard to believe, but this is the game. So the first thing I want to show is Coding Wars. So Coding Wars, they have like 1,500 puzzles, different coding puzzles, and you can find puzzle that fits for you better by difficulty or tags, and each puzzle can be solved by using more than 7 languages, and almost all of them are using JavaScript. So you can use JavaScript to solve puzzles there. And after, they are pretty much the same here. But after you solve the puzzle, you should publish your solution. And after publishing your solution, you can get access to their solution. And you can rate solution of other users, you can comment their solutions. Actually, they have 2 kind of ratings, like best practices and cleverness. So somehow solution pretty much clever, but it's not a best practice. And Check.io, this one. Yeah, we are creating a game with islands, and you have puzzles on the islands, and you can solve, by solving puzzles on those islands, you can explore more and more islands, so it's pretty much fun. And by solving the puzzles, you can get access to solution of other users, and we have different categories, so you can publish your solution in one of which these categories. So we have clear, creative, and speedy categories. So clear, it means you think your solution is pretty much good for reading and for understanding. And discussion out there is mostly about best practices in coding. Creative, it's one-liners or some mind-blowing solution, and speed is most about speed, so you don't care about all these things. I just want to make the fastest solution as possible. So while I was working on this project, so actually the project was started more than 5 years ago, and I was pretty new in Python development, and when I started the game, I just wanted to create some environment for developers who was new in Python, as same as I was at that time. And pretty quickly, very soon I found out that there are a lot of very experienced coders start playing this game, and actually start creating a game for people who like 10 times smarter than me. And I start asking them, why are you playing these games? You have full-time job, you will have a lot of coding there, and those are answers that I get from them. It's a great way to learn something new and improve your coding abilities, as well as see how other people approach the same problem. In my opinion, is by far the most efficient and effective way for self-improvement. Yes, so people who are coding a lot, they love to be involved in discussion, the solution discussion, especially then if after they have their own solution. So this is the one of the most popular feedback. Let me give you some other feedback that I get. Maybe the fact that they have exact answer, unlike real life, is this is the same as puzzles. The more puzzles I solve, the more peaceful my heart becomes. This is actually one of my favorite. So yes, pretty much often your job of developers are more related to technologies rather than inventing algorithms and using some fancy algorithms. So pretty much you can find all the solution on GitHub, and you can find all the answers on the Stack Overflow. And what you should do, you should meet deadlines, you should get solution with acceptable qualities. So this is pretty much what the coder's job right now. What should you do mostly as coder? And one more thing, one more feedback. For me, Checo is the way to raise the level of the programmer and solve an interesting problem. Also for me, it's the realization of creativity. It's not a secret that the job of programmer is often not very creative. A lot of routine work, and Checo is the break from routine and dive into pure creativity. This is the Mona Lisa. So yes, we forgot that programmers are also artists. They are not just problem solvers. So pretty often we look on our solution as a work of art. And I want to share a story, my story. So I was working on some project that should become part of bigger project. And I was very inspired, young programmer, and I work overnight, and I refactored my solution over and over and over, and at 4 a.m. I was standing, and the best solution I ever saw. Like, it's the good, best solution. Like, I couldn't imagine any better. And I didn't want to push it on server, because like tomorrow they will find bugs there and I need to change it, and in a week there will be some integrational problem and I need to fix it, and then some requirements will be changed in a month, and deadlines getting closer and things getting harder, and I wasn't proud in the months of my solution. Well, son, I was young, I need to meet some deadlines. The last feedback I want to share, this is the answer on the question, why the hell are you playing Checo so much? Last September I had a course base of programming Python. Our crazy lecture said everyone who would gain level 12 in Checo wouldn't have to take an exam. So there are actually a lot of examples like this. So what the future? I see I see how coding become closer and closer to get coding games, to games actually. And I'm sure that very soon when you start playing a new game, the first question you will ask, okay, Google, what can I code here? And those are some of the examples of coding games, which is more games, I think, than actually codings. So Code Combat. Those actually this project where you should learn how to code by fighting with monsters. And the level of the level of puzzle starts from very new horror. So since they're focused more on schools and pretty new coders, so this is where you can code, and this is where the battle starts, and it's pretty much fun. And they also have a multiplayer where you can compete with your friends. You can create AI solution and you can play with your friends. So it's also pretty creative part of the game. So one more project, coding game. And this is the game where they're actually set of games. So they have every game they have this unique game approach in terms of art. So they are doing their own game approach in actually every single game. So for instance, they even have for some very simple puzzle like finding the maximum number, the biggest number out of given set, they create the spaceship, and you should control your spaceship and destroy the highest mountain. So they're actually doing a lot of experiments with with coding games. For instance, they have Code Clash of Code, where you should compete who solve the puzzle faster, who solve their puzzle faster than others. And they also have AI games. They have actually, last week I saw 7 different AI games, and there are also competition that's sponsored by big companies. So it's worth to check as well. And in Czechia, we are doing some experiments with games as well. So the last experiments we started like half a year ago, Empire of Code, and it's still in beta, but it's open and you can start playing it. The idea is very simple. What can we get on intersection of popular games like Clash of Clans and Boom Beach and coding? So this is what we got. You have your base at the very beginning, and on this base you can start building your buildings, and you can improve your buildings by solving some puzzles. So at some levels there are puzzles can be unlocked, and by solving those puzzles you can get your building stronger or more efficient. And at the very beginning, so this is how you're solving puzzles in the game. And in the very beginning, you will be asked which clan you want to join. You can join either Python or JavaScript. So if you join the Python clan, you can steal resources only from JavaScript bases, and an opposite. So and actually,
Be both Python and JavaScript.
what?
If you want to be both in Python clan and JavaScript.
You should have 2 accounts, but people yes, and you should choose which side you want to join, Python or JavaScript. And you can also control your troops on the battle by code, and you can steal some battle algorithms from your friends, and so on and so on. So coding becomes more and more, so it's easy for you to start coding right now. Learning code is much more easier than it was 5 years ago. And more people are getting better with coding. And they're starting wondering how we can be creative in coding. So this is, I was watching recently DockerCon, since I'm also a Docker fan. And the very end of the Docker conference, they have this section for Docker-related projects, where authors of these projects can present their projects from main scene. So one of the projects I liked a lot called Dockercraft. So the idea is just blows my mind. So the idea is it's the Minecraft client for Docker. So you have Minecraft world, and in this world, the buildings are actually Docker containers. And the sign on these buildings is actually container name and some stats of the container. And you can step into the building, and there are control panels, so you can shut down your container on. And since this is the multiplayer platform, there can be a lot of friends who's playing this game and creating Docker containers and can interact with each other through this world and with this container. So closing thought. And what I think is that for advanced coder, it can be not also a way for improving skill. It can be not also way. It can be not also way to improve their skill or learning something more. It can also be a source of inspiration. Thank you. One more thing I want to share, because for a long time, Checker was only for Python. And the Python, so it's gonna be staying only in Python. So, but what we decide to do, we decide to start one more project for JavaScript only. So the same approach, maybe a little bit improved, but for JavaScript players. So right now in the closed beta, but if you want, I can give you an access, send you an white code, and it's gonna be launched this fall. So join, start playing, and thank you again. If you have a question, and actually they have this invitations for our certificates for good questions. Anyway, thank you again. I just love when you clap and I can say thank you all the time.
Thanks. Thank you for your great speech, and thank you for your projects. I played both games on
Thank you.
Python side. And so the question is, are you going to create some kind of code game for kids?
Code game.
Like you said, code wars, something like that.
Code combat there.
Code combat, yeah.
Yeah.
It's RPG for, yeah.
Yeah.
I played both.
So in Checker, we're more focused, at least right now, on improving experience. In my opinion, there are so many resources already where you can start learning your coding, like start learning coding. But very few where you actually can improve your coding skill, where you can get to know how, what is the best coding practices, what the best coding approach at this particular language. So this is my opinion. So we more focused right now on improving skills. We do have some hints in every mission. So sometimes even if you don't know how to solve these particular puzzles, you can get hints and see how we can push you, but we start from the very small push. So yes, but no kids, no kids.
Actually, I have a lot of questions, but thank you for speaking.
We can start talk after if you.
So one of them, what is much more interesting? Create coding games or maybe play it? Did you play your own games?
Yes, of course, I'm playing my own games.
And what is interesting?
Sorry?
What is much more interesting? Create one or play it?
This is actually very tricky questions. Yeah. Actually, I played not only in my own game, so I've actually played a lot on each of those games. And yeah, creating games is also a lot of fun. And but playing, yeah, it's hard to create a game if you are not enjoying playing this game as well. I don't like to play. So I have my own account, like which everybody knows that odd one in this game, which means me who created the game. But often create additional accounts to start over and over, so I can understand the first experience of player, and so I can improve it. But yeah, I think I answered this question. And yeah. More often, just a second. More often, I enjoy to see how creative some other solution, some other approach. Especially when I remember, I started playing this Empire of Code game. After we launched, we started to interact with other players, and I was wonder what creative solution of battle, like control troops and interact inside of troops. I was so inspired, and this was like the most enjoyable part of this process. Yes? So right now in Python version, we have more than 200,000 users who played Python game. I'm not sure about Empire of Code. There are less people there. And the big push for Python is that after of Python, Guido van Rossum, he's also recommend Checkr as resources and support us, and sometimes give us code review. So it's push a lot. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for speech first. And the question is, if someone want to apply for a job, for example, to your project, do you ask someone what actually level do you have before the interview?
Actually, I don't. But we hired some guy who had just in his profile his link on his in his CV link on his profile. Okay, you can. Yeah, he's just finished his university and he was looking for a new job. Played a lot of Checkr. Our guy. Yeah.
It was a great presentation, great attitude. You consciously limiting your audience to people who know programming, how to program, yep. Yeah. But my question is, say I'd like to start playing games, and first of all I need to peruse lots of documentation, boring documentation, learn all your APIs and then make some shitty algorithm before I can gain some success. So the question is, the entrance, how it will be expensive for me in terms of time consumption.
You know, I have only 2 certificates, but I'm literally want to get. I'm like, okay, I know how to get these 2. Okay, and that's crazy question. Okay, I'm good. What the time consumption? I think you can learn some basic in order to start playing. So at least when you learn coding, you shouldn't read a lot of documentation before you start actually coding, right? So the success path of learning programming is you read the chapter, or you read like an hour, you read some documentation, you should start practicing right away. So check in that terms, this check. One. Yep. So Checkr is the way how you practice in your coding skills. So the time consumption before you start, I think our reading of some documentation. So in order to solve the very first puzzle, you need to know only how to use if statement. So you know how to use if, you can read it. So how much time do you need in order to get the if statement? Not too much, I guess. But thank you for the question.
So your games are primarily targeted to the learning process, not the playing
I'm not sure. It's the it's
assume I'm sometimes advanced developer, yeah. With
Yeah.
some,
you should
okay.
use this. thing.
and if I'm going to start on next level, not from the beginning, if I'm trying to check some algorithms, check my skill, and is it possible? To
Yes. First of all, what the coolest thing I love about Checker is that even when you solve some very easy puzzle, for instance, I don't know, you need to, pretty much everybody can solve the puzzle when you need to count bracket puzzle. So you need to count, do you have equal amount of open brackets and closed brackets? And pretty much everybody can solve this puzzle. But when you solve the puzzle, and probably you don't need too much coding skills, but when you solve those puzzle, you get huge amount of different solution of this puzzle, and some of them are so much creative, so you probably more enjoy of not actually solving the puzzle, but reading of solution of other users. So I can say that the best solution on Checker about solving this closing puzzle, the brackets puzzle, is you need to remove all the characters that doesn't have you need to remove all the characters that is not the scope or bracket, and after that you just removing this thing, like just open and close together. And if after all the removes you have at least one characters, then they're not equal. I think it's over complicated to what I wanted to say. It's not only about solving, it's more about exchanging experience. And you can exchange experience even on this very small and easy puzzle like if-then statement.
I see your point. This makes sense, definitely. I
Okay.
have lots of questions, but prefer to ask them privately.
Okay. I would love to answer.
Once again, thanks for impression. This impressed me, particularly me. Thanks.
Thank you.
So guys, have you more questions?
Я должен сейчас. I like this question about what can you enjoy more, because and the question about job. I love this. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you very much again, you, for your
Thank you.
question.